Okay, welcome everyone. Let's get right into the charts. If you're new to the channel, we cover technical analysis. I try to point out trade ideas or give an idea of where I think things are going on this channel. A lot of channels, they just kind of leave it open-ended. Things could go up, things could go down. I try to give an idea of where I think it's going to go based on what I'm seeing in the charts. Doesn't always work that way, but that's why I point out the levels and why, and why I teach in my course how to manage a trade. So if it starts going against you, you can, stop out of a trade. And that's key. You're never going to, nobody knows which direction it's really going to go. You just can go against what you see in the charts. And when it changes, something changes all of a sudden, you take action basically. And that's what I did this morning. I took action. I actually went long triple Qs. So I was short into the open, but I saw that we're basically breaking this downtrend line right here. So see this downtrend line? If I go to the hourly, you can see we were downtrending right there. And then this morning they gapped it up, and I couldn't quite tell if it was going to break down or hold, but then it started to really, we got an hourly close above that, and then the next hour it started to move. I closed my short and went long. All right. And that's what you have to do basically when you see the charts change, and today they look different than they did yesterday. So basically I'm going to stay long until, I think I think we can get up to the 324.40 area, probably find some resistance there. But we also have this gap that was made. See the gap right there? I think it's likely or probable that we fill this gap. And that might be the end of the move. So we'll watch that. Maybe we run up, do a gap fill, then we start to sell off. But for right now, I'll stay long and until this chart changes. If it wants to break down, fine. Looking at the daily, there's no change. We had this negative divergence right here, right? And this bearish rising wedge that we had, we kept going higher and higher, and then we put in this negative divergence, and we did get a decent correction, from the high to the low. That was a correction of about 12%. And I was looking for, I was looking for a little bit more because the SPY had not really corrected. So I was thinking that the SPY was due to kind of correct, and Qs might go a little bit lower. And then this thing would kind of wrap up, at least for the short term. But, so far we don't have that. So maybe the Qs wants to run up and fill the gap and then sell off. We'll have to wait and see. Another thing to look at. Oh, another thing that is, well, no, it's not really a head and shoulders. But the point is, as of right now, looks short-term bullish. So I'm going to trade it long until we can get, until we get some more sell signals or signs that we're going to go lower. Longer term, though, and really intermediate term, especially on the SPY, I'm not bullish. Here's the SPY. All right, the Qs is the one that corrected. The SPY did not correct. So the Qs, is having a rally off of that pretty substantial correction, and all those shorts. Well, let me go back to the Qs real quick just to kind of show how this played out basically at the end of the day. So this was a sell signal right here on Qs. So I got short right there at 326.27. Told everyone I was getting short. And, I rode that thing down all the way down to 297. All right. I kept talking about that area as being, the area I was looking for more major support down at that 297, 298, 300 area. And that's because you can see back here, this was the area where we ramped up. We gapped down and sold off right there, and then came back up, tagged it as resistance. Came back up, hit it as resistance, and then finally broke above. Once we broke above, we tagged it as support, a couple times. And so we came right down to that level and tagged it pretty much to the penny, and that's where we bounced from. So the way that I played this, and just to kind of show everyone how, these charts matter, I got short on the sell signal. We had negative divergence telling us that this breakdown was going to take place. Rode this all the way down to that area. And that was a move of about, from there to there was, let's just say 9%. Down there, I covered my shorts down here at this major support area, and I went long. I talked about that in my video. Rode the thing up, and if you did that from the low to the high, that would be a move of about 4%. And at the end of the day, I flipped short again right up here. Now that was working. Everything was working out, because you can see the next day it sold off. But see, I was looking for another leg down because I hadn't seen the SPY correct yet. So I figured that the SPY was going to start to correct, and then the Qs would make a little bit, another move down. And we just didn't get that, So my entry on my short was right here at, about 309.20 or so. And that's where I started to take on losses. So basically from there till here, that's about a 2% loss. I covered right here after this hourly candle closed. So we got a 2% loss on that position. But again, from the here down to the low, that was about a 9% gain. From the bounce right here that I went long on, that was, roughly, about a 3.5% gain. So we'll just say 12.5% gain and then a 2% loss. So 10.5% gain trade. All right. And that's pretty good for an index trade. Again, I take larger positions in these. So a 10% gain is pretty good. And as of right now, I'm long, I'm not short. So we'll see how that plays out. If this breaks back down, I'll get out of that long. And the market can get pretty tricky when you're in correction phase. So, as of right now, it looks like a long, but, they can pop it above here and then just break down or gap down the next day and create a bull trap. So you always want to be suspicious of that, even though it's not showing up as of right now. All right, so SPY, the one reason why I'm not longer term bullish right now, even though, you can be short term bullish on the Qs bouncing off a pretty good correction, is the SPY. You see on the weekly channel or the weekly chart, here's your 2009 lows, and here's the trend line I pointed out all the time. You can see weekly held support, held it there, held it there, held it all through here, broke support in 2018, back test in 2019, break, Fed steps in, back test in 2020, and look at where we're at right now. We're just back testing that broken trend line. So bigger picture, this is not, yes, we are uptrending off the 2009 lows, and, bigger picture, yeah, we're uptrending in a bull market, since the 2009 lows there, but we broke trend, all right? So you break trend, you back test, you break trend. Look, you could have said, oh, it was extremely bullish right here too, right? Nobody thought this big plunge was going to come and everything looked bullish. We were back testing resistance. I was getting a lot of people saying, why are you bearish? The market's only bullish. And that's because all of 2019 was completely bullish. So they don't know when to, they just ride it until they ride it down, ride it all the way down. So same deal, I don't want to be bullish right up here against resistance. I want to look for opportunities to short. All right. Now, I'm not going to just get short because we're back testing resistance. I need a sell signal. All right. So looking at the hourly chart, what I would probably go off of on a short-term sell signal, you can't quite make that right there. That's not the cleanest. Maybe I don't know. We have to kind of, I'm looking for some sort of an impulsive breakdown. That hourly just isn't my favorite right there. So, probably just a big bearish engulfing candle and with confirmation candle. We could look at that. So I'll know it when I see it, but as of right now, we're just tagging resistance. Now, if we break above, which is possible, although, you're at resistance, so I don't want to bet that we're going to break above when we're coming into resistance. You want to short into resistance or sell your longs, and you want to buy into support. That's just basic technical analysis. So again, I got to just see more evidence that this is going to get rejected. I just don't see it yet. Let's get the idea. Oh, and then one more thing on the SPY. The negative divergence is still there. All right, we're just extending it. Right now, we're making an all-time new high, it looks like. Or, yeah, we just made a briefly all-time new high right into major resistance with negative divergence. So that is, there's a very high likelihood, or the probability is in the favor of this getting rejected and selling off. So maybe that correction that I was looking for in the SPY is coming up next. We haven't seen it yet, but maybe it's on deck. Let's look at the IWM. IWM, all right, so we made a new high here in the IWM, a brief new high above this previous high, and yet the momentum is less. So we have negative divergence now in the IWM. However, it's not confirmed. So see the RSI still pointed up right here. This, if this keeps going higher, you're going to just burn through that negative divergence, and it's going to look something like that. So you want to see that confirmed before saying before that you can say that is definitively negative divergence. So to see that confirm, you'd want to see the RSI start to turn down and make that peak, make that mountaintop. And that's what I'll be looking for. The other thing is we're coming into major resistance here at this purple line. So we have a negative divergence running right into major resistance. That major resistance comes off the weekly chart, off the 2009 lows. You can see here, we undercut it here, but there was no trend established at that point. And then once we recovered that, the trend was clean. See all the support, all through here was support. Then we broke, no back test. We never did a back test. And then there's COVID drop, and then just a humongous, and I didn't catch this obviously because of that SPY chart keeps me, that SPY chart keeps me looking for short opportunities. But again, huge rally in the IWM and right up to a back test. So just as it was very, potentially objective to get long all the way down here after this big massive sell-off, it's not objective to get long up here. All right, you could stay long, but the thing is, you start moving down, I like to take profit into resistance or get short, and I like to buy, or cover shorts into support. All right, so that's what I'm looking to do on this, is looking for some sort of rejection on the daily. For the sell signal, what I'll be looking for. So this right here looks like this was a bear trap. We've recovered, but I'm looking for another breakdown of that trend line. So an impulsive daily breakdown and close. And that would be your sell signal of IWM. And then IWM's likely going to start to roll over. So that's what I'm looking for. And otherwise, on the bullish side, what I would look for is, if we can break above this major resistance, not just a break, but you want to see a break and it to really start to consolidate and hold above there. If it can break, consolidate, hold, and then start to move higher, then I would say, okay, this is actually recovering that bull market trend, and we're likely going to continue the bull market from 2009 for however long. I don't know how long it'll continue, but I'd want to see more than just a brief break. I'd want to see a break, a consolidation, and then start to move higher. And that goes for the SPY as well. It's really the same on the SPY. Okay, so TLT, nothing's really changed technically in TLT. We are just kind of consolidating down here below this major trend line. A recovery of TLT and interest rates will start dropping. That should be bullish for tech. It really depends on why TLT is recovering. If TLT is recovering because there's a fear trade going on and everyone's rushing to safety, then obviously that's not good for tech. But if that fear trade's not going on and the markets are still holding up and TLT starts to catch a bid, then that should be, that should help tech. So something to look for. But as of right now, I don't see a recovery. I don't see I don't see any signs that this is a bottom. The only thing that you can say is this was a reversal candle right here, and you did have confirmation. So that was a nice reversal doji, and you do have confirmation with more, more buying. So there's potential there on the daily. And there is potential that we have some daily bullish divergence as well. If I can get my line here, you can see that we're starting to kind of, uptrend like that. Well, this right here was a slightly lower low. So I would say that's bullish divergence there on the RSI. Let's look at the PPO. I don't really see it that cleanly on the PPO. So we have it on the RSI, not on the PPO. A recovery, a nice big green candle recovery, that would be pretty bullish, and maybe rates are going to drop from there. So we'll watch that. But as of right now, I don't see any trade here that I want to take right now. All right, let's look at some other individual sectors and stocks. XLE still strong. All right, no sell signals in XLE. Again, I get a lot of people. It was funny. Yesterday, I had a lot of a lot of the haters started showing back up again. You know, they were completely silent over the, you know, when the tech sector was down 10, 12%. I heard nothing, no comments. Go back and look at my videos. There's no comments from anybody trolling me. And then they start showing back up when the markets start moving in their favor. That's how it goes. But, you know, the reality is that I was covering and taking profit on a lot of those shorts that I had pointed out. And many of those shorts profited 20, 30, even 40% on some of them. And so very profitable correction so far in triple Qs for me. And I'll continue to look for trade ideas that, you know, set up like that. They're not going to work right away. You know, I talk about them, and oil is one of those. Back then I was talking about buying oil down here. All right. And it, you know, you buy it, it doesn't work right away, but it's a setup. It starts to break out and, you know, off to the races. Oil down here, nobody wanted to buy oil down here because they thought, whatever, Biden's going to be bad for oil or, you know, the COVID thing. I mean, but the chart told me that it was a good setup. And, you know, from there to the high now, it's up 84% from that, you know, from that area. If you bought it on the buy signal or breakout right here, you know, that's still a move of 66%. So pretty massive rally in oil. And if you're still long, I don't see any reason to sell, although it's getting pretty overextended. So that is one thing that, you know, we're kind of, you know, I'll mark that right there. It's definitely overextended, overbought, you know, all that, but that's no reason to sell or to short or to get out of your longs. You need to see a break of trend. And this trend line right here is the one I'm watching. All right. This is your hourly chart. It shows up on the daily right there. Looking at let's look, see if we have slight negative divergence. So we're, you know, it's starting to show up. I think it's prudent to start tightening stops or looking for that sell signal. You know, I'm long oil, you know, I'm long certain individual stocks, but you know, I think it's probably going to come in for a correction soon. To me, that will be a buying opportunity, I believe. But where do we go? You know, well, we could easily come all the way down to this 37.70 in XLE. All right, a big nasty correction, or potentially this. Here's another level, 42. So no sell signal yet. You know, it's still moving higher, still trending up. But let's keep an eye out for it. And same with financials. You know, it's really the same story. It's you know, I'm not long financials in any way. They have been bullish, and they continue to look bullish. Starting to see some negative divergence showing up. But I don't see any reason to short this yet. I don't see any sell signals. Again, I'd just watch this trend line here on the daily. All right, we get a break, an impulsive breakdown of that, and I think we're heading straight down to this level down here at about 30. All right, so that'll be a trade when or if it shows up, but as of right now, I don't see it. Okay, Apple. You know, I don't see any real technical change in these FAANG stocks. I mean, Apple's still downtrending. You can see, you know, you're making a series of, here's your high, a lower high, you got a lower high, lower lows. We're still downtrending. We've still broken trend. Apple also has not hit its 200-day moving average down here. So that's what I'm saying. It's, you know, Qs might have a little bit of a rally because I think Apple can probably rally up to this area of about 125.40 or so. And that's possible. But, you know, I'm going to be watching for that. What happens up there? Are we going to reject? I think to come down and hit the 200 would be a minimum. Maybe we hold that 200, but we should probably at least test it. We got close, never tested it. Something to look at there. On Apple, let's pop open this. We do have, I think that is daily bullish divergence. Let's look at that. So, yeah, we do have daily bullish divergence on Apple right there and on the RSI. So, you know, what I could see happening is we come down, hit the 200, continue that bullish divergence. We don't negate that. That remains intact. And maybe that's the low or the bottom for Apple for right now. So I'll be watching for that. As of right now, you know, tech looks like it wants to rally a little bit. Microsoft bounced off its support. We never got that breakdown. So 227.70, that was something that was really needed to get that next leg lower in Qs, and it looked like it wanted to do it, started to break there, just never got any confirmation or follow through. So again, just watch that level. And if you don't get that breakdown, Microsoft, then Microsoft could, be making another leg higher. Amazon's just done nothing. This is just dead money sideways until I see a break above this trend line right here at about 3290, or a break below 3930. Did I say that right? Yeah, 3290, and then the low support is 3930. Then it's just kind of sideways. We're just in the middle of the range right now. Google, same thing. Google's kind of just hanging up here, not really going, not breaking out, not breaking down. So again, some of these FAANGs are not, there's not a lot of change in the technical setup or posture of these FAANGs. So as of right now, just keep an eye on those. Okay, TAN bouncing right into resistance. There it is, 97.76. Now, if the Qs wants to continue higher, TAN's likely going to break higher too. So something to watch on this. I'm not really interested in shorting right here at this resistance just because of the posture of the Qs and tech. I'm going to watch it, but I think TAN could maybe do a full back test all the way up here. So I'd be more interested in shorting way up here if I could get it. Something to watch. As of right now, looking at this, no bullish divergence. So it is objective to short here. Like you could short here, and this could just be a bounce into resistance and then make another leg lower. I mean, we never hit the 200-day moving average down here. So I don't know. I'm undecided. It could be an opportunity to short, but again, that Qs, that's going to be my signal, I believe, because this is going to sell off with tech. This is one of those high-flying kind of mania names that everybody's piled into tech, basically. That's where the mania is at for the most part. And so, when that starts selling off, all the tech names sell off. If you're attached to tech in any way, then you sell off, and this is one of them. Snap. All right, so this had a breakdown right here, but so far they've bought it back up, and it's been it's a bear trap as of right now. So I bailed from this. I shorted it on this breakdown. Looked good, but obviously you never know, right? Once it breaks a level, it looks like it's going to roll down and gap fill, but as of right now, doesn't want to do it. Doesn't mean it's not going to do it here in the next few days. I'm not interested in being long this. The reason why, well, look, big negative divergence right there on the RSI, negative divergence on the PPO. That has not changed. So you still have negative momentum, and you have a bearish rising wedge. We overshot the top of the wedge, broke down, made it look like it was breaking here, but they've recovered it. So, I don't want to be short until we get another breakdown. You get a breakdown of support again, and, I'll just continue to play it that way, that when you break that support, we're going to run down and do a gap fill all the way down here. But until that happens, since they've recovered it, we could bounce back up to the top of the range, maybe all the way up here at 65.60, and then roll over. A lot can happen. So, again, we had a sell signal, but it was negated, so we kind of just X that out and wait for the next sell signal. That's it on that one. Redfin looks interesting to short right up into this resistance about 75.20. I like that. That's okay. Again, still has negative divergence. Now, that did play out, right? We had negative divergence all through here, and we did get a good size correction. I mean, so that's probably, that was a drop of 40%, all right, from the high to the low. That's likely enough to satisfy this negative divergence, so I'm not going to continue to just say that that is intact. But again, you do have resistance here, so I think that's objective to short. Watch some of the other tech stocks, see how they behave, because they could gap it over this and run up to this level, right, at 82.73. If you're back in this area, we could be off to the races for new highs. So something to just watch for. As of right, I'm not in this. I don't have a position. I covered this position right down here at 60, 50. Right at when we hit that trend line, I covered it. So for me, the trade was a break of trend here all the way down to there, which was about a 20.5% gain. And I took that money and ran with it. So we'll wait and see. PayPal. I am still short PayPal. PayPal has not played out for a move down yet, the move that I'm thinking we're going to get. And it has not technically changed either. The posture hasn't technically changed. So we have a big sell signal here, bounced off support. Looks like we're back testing. But again, a back test is an opportunity to add a short until it recovers. If a back test and then recovers, then sure. But, I think it's very likely PayPal is going to roll over. Chewy, yeah, this one could be a short. We're right there in that area. You've got this trend line right here on the daily. You've got negative divergence right there. There's your negative divergence. We came down under, we got the sell signal on the break of trend, and we're back testing. We're close enough here. If you look at the hourly, you can see we're close enough to where it could break down. So, what I would do is probably just wait for a break. Wait for it to be obvious, that you're breaking this trend. And once that happens, you should get this should start to move lower, at least down to the 200-day moving average, which is, right around 70.36. But I think likely down to this $50 area. Yeah, so there's potential there. We'll keep an eye on that. Etsy, yeah, I'm still short this one. Going against me a little bit today. But in general, it's just kind of in this big chop zone. I mean, we've broken this trend line support, and my levels could be off. Let me kind of look at that. Yeah, no, I like these levels. So we're just above here. We'll see how the day closes. Maybe they close back below resistance. Zillow Group is kind of interesting right here. The thing I want to point out on Zillow Group, potential head and shoulders top, you've got the right shoulder right here, you've got the head, and then this is potentially the left shoulder, sorry, the right shoulder here. That was your left shoulder. Potential head and shoulders top right there. We want to see this reject though. So watch this, this should reject right in this area and start to sell off. If it doesn't, then Zillow might come in and do a full back test, up to 204, 205, 206, wherever it might go. Something to look for there. That's what I'm watching on that one. Neo, again, Neo's not doing much. Neo's likely heading up to 48.17 and probably going to reject there. I'm still short Neo. This still looks good. Neo to me looks like it's heading down to 22, and I don't see anything changing there. We're just kind of in this consolidation zone. Tesla looks like it's trying to break out and break higher, but it's not that impulsive. So you got this downtrend line right here, and it broke and it couldn't close. Today they gapped it up and it's hanging in there, but kind of selling off. Watch that, all right? That might be a tell for the broader tech market as well. Okay, AMD, still short AMD. This one looks like it's just back testing today. In fact, I might even add to the short. The thing about AMD is, you have this big level off 2016, this big long uptrend off the 2016 lows, and we put in this consolidation pattern. We broke trend right here. There's your breakdown and your sell signal. We hit the first level of support, which is the 73.64. That's this area. See how it's a support. So we came down, hit support, and we bounced into a back test. Technically, nothing's changed. We still have a sell signal on the bigger pattern. We're back testing. So I'm looking for this to fail in this area. I'm looking for some sort of a rejection. Doesn't have to happen today. We could just kind of hold in this area and then gap down tomorrow or something. But I'm looking for it to reject in this area. So if you start to see that rejection play out, then that tells me that AMD is just getting started for a downtrend. Next level of support is likely the $60 range. So I think if we reject, we're going to break this level and head down to $60 over, however many days or weeks that actually takes. And apps, let's see here on the daily. Digital Turbine. So we got to, it's hard to say, they make it look like they're recovering, but they're starting to sell it down now. So I'm seeing signs that this move higher is in tech is actually going to fail. So I'm cautiously long the triple Qs, but I will flip short very quickly if I see a change or see signs that this is, you know, a false breakout and we're going to head lower. So keep that in mind. On the daily here on apps, big upward trend line right there. We broke, we got a sell signal, and we're back testing. Now, yeah, they've recovered it so far. They've made it look like it's recovered on the daily. Day's not over though, so you know you're gonna want to watch this hourly if you're trading this. We could easily break back down and head, you know, if we start closing back down on this trend line, I think likely that this was a false breakout and we're gonna start to break lower. Something to look for on that one. And just real quick, I'll flip through these gold miners. They're continuing to look good. Let me get rid of that tool. So Agnico Eagle, you can see this was, you know, I kind of the buy. My green area was my buy zone. We undercut it a little bit, but we're back in the green zone. So that's pretty bullish to recover those levels. So watch for this. You know, I think this is bullish. You know, this looks like it wants to go higher. BTG's kind of hanging in there. Nothing to really report. Look at Franco Nevada. Down channel right here in FNV, and you know you can see tags of support right there, tagged it right in here. And look, we undercut it, but when we did that, we had bullish divergence. See the bullish divergence right there? So I pointed it out. This was bullish divergent lows, and we're likely going to reverse. And you know, boom, off to the races, up 5% today. This is likely, you know, I think this is likely going to break this this bullish falling wedge and going to start to break higher. That looks good to me. GDXJ continues to kind of drift higher. GDX, let's look at that one. Continues to, look, there's your support line right there at 31.30. And we have, you know, on the daily, bullish divergence right there. So bullish divergence never, you know, was negated, and we held support, and we're, you know, bouncing off that, continuing to move higher. So in general, that looks bullish. HMY, yeah, see HMY, we have this downtrend line right here. This was the buy zone down here in green. I pointed that out. We're rallying right into that trend line and getting rejected today because, you know, it's the tag of that downtrend line. That makes sense. But I'd look for a breakout. You know, that's what I'm looking for on that one. Nothing really there. Royal Gold looks good. You know, downtrend channel starting to break above. It's not impulsive yet. Sand bounced off support, kind of this support area, and right into resistance right here on this downward channel. So we don't have breakouts on some of these, and that's what we want to look at. We have a move up to the top or the resistance line. Now we want to see breakouts. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I think we're going to get it, but you know, we got to see that. Okay, long video, lots to cover. I just wanted to kind of point all that stuff out. So thank you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.